Hello, and welcome to 6 lesser-known lake monsters. It seems that no matter where you go, there are stories of just about every body of water being home to some kind of monster. With that being said, I chose only 6 that I found personally interesting, all the while trying to show a diverse range of locations. If I missed one that you know of, it wasn't meant as disrespect, I just couldn't fit all of them in one video. I also want to mention that I won't go into too much detail with their descriptions, unless something unique pops up, since most of them resemble the Loch Ness monster. RAYSTOWN Ray. The first creature on this list comes from an area that is relatively close to me in my home state of Pennsylvania. RAYSTOWN Lake is a popular spot for camping, boating, and fishing. The lake itself is 30 miles long, and at its deepest point it is 185 feet to the bottom. This body of water was actually a man-made reservoir that was created with the main purpose of preventing floods, as well as providing hydroelectric power. Outside of all this, under the surface, it is said that a mysterious creature that rivals the Loch Ness monster can be found. According to reports, the very first sighting of the creature known as Ray was in 1962 by the old dam that was destroyed in 1971 to make way for the creation of the previously mentioned reservoir. The creature is thought to be an herbivore since no animal remains have been found, but original reports did note mysterious reports of swimmers going missing. In 2007, a photo was presented from a tourist that is the most thought-provoking evidence as to the creature's existence. The show Fact or Faked even dedicated an episode to this being, to which they were unable to prove or disprove the story. LABYNKYR Lake Devil. Moving on to Siberia, we discover a lake that has an early record of strange sightings known simply as the Devil. The lake itself is 23 square miles and 174 feet deep. Even though it is located in one of the coldest areas in the world, a majority of the water's surface never freezes. Theories behind this phenomenon state that an underwater volcanic fissure keeps the water warm enough not to freeze. The Devil has been reported for years by locals and even predate Nessie sightings in Scotland by quite a few decades. This creature, according to lore, will let out a hideous cry before attacking its prey. A professor in biology named Lyudmila Emelianova researched the lake and found quite a few interesting hits on her fish finder that corresponded to a massive object swimming in the water. At one point of her trip, she also noted seeing a huge black shadow swim by her boat while she was using the fish finder. A diving expedition of the Russian Geographic Society with the Diving Sport Federation of Russia teamed up to explore the lake themselves. Initially, the reports claimed they found nothing but rocks and a large dogfish, but later on, confusing information was provided. In this new report, there are claims that a large set of jaws and skeleton were in fact found on the floor. As usual, things are debatable, with one side saying this is proof, while the other states it is a ploy to bring in tourism in an area that is known for negative 89 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 67 degrees Celsius. Hawkesbury River. The next stop on our trek to finding strange water creatures brings us to a lake in Sydney, Australia. This lake empties into the Tasman Sea and is approximately 75 miles long. As with most of the creatures found in this video, sightings of a strange creature have been recorded way back in the history books. In fact, with this creature, it is said that the Aboriginals gave the being the names Mollywonk and Murrilur, translated to giant water serpent, and even depicted them as drawings on rocks near the river. The creature is said to resemble a plesiosaur and is about 24 meters or 78 feet long. While researching this topic, I was hard-pressed to find an image of the creature, but come to find out that while sightings are frequent, pictures are rare. This water monster isn't friendly towards people in the water, as there are numerous reports of boats being thrown in the air along with its passengers if the being surfaced below the craft, which exactly happened in the 1980s. Others tell tales of finding boats torn to pieces and its crew being nowhere to be found. Thames Sea Serpent. Our trip around the world takes us to London. While this area is most notably known for sites such as Big Ben, the Palace of Westminster, the Queen's Guard, and fish and chips at Covent Garden, there is also an unlikely attraction. In the famous river Thames, it is said a sea serpent exists under the water. Not much is known about this creature since it was relatively recent that footage was released. What is known is that the images depict a long black object with strange humps swimming in the river Thames. Oddly enough, this river that ends at the North Sea has had quite a few mysterious visitors in its history. There have been a few whales that have gotten sidetracked with wanting to visit London. So, was these images the real deal, a fake, or a real whale? Ogopogo. This being is probably one of the more well-known on this list and is found in Okanagan Lake in Canada. The lake itself is 84 miles or 135 kilometers long and is 761 feet or 232 meters at its deepest. The depth of this body of water is known to drop off steeply to 328 feet or 100 meters, only 32 feet or 10 meters from shore. Reports of the Ogopogo or Nataka lake demon were originally reported by the native First Nation people in the early 19th century. Just so it is stated, the First Nations refer to the Aboriginal Canadians that are neither Inuits or Métis in heritage. This creature is said to be 40 to 50 feet or 12 to 15 meters long, and while many on this list resemble Nessie, this one actually seems more like a serpent, without flippers. Multiple photos and videos have surfaced showing the creature, but as with most evidence, it isn't clear enough to prove its existence without a shadow of a doubt. Dublin Lake Mystery. The final step in our cryptid journey finds us back in the United States in New Hampshire. I know, I would have thought that a name like Dublin Lake would actually be in Ireland. This lake is sometimes called a pond due to it being relatively small at only 236 acres, but apparently the fish-filled water has numerous underwater caves. We finally take a step out of the normal Nessie-style creatures to one of another kind. Honestly, no description was ever given of what was encountered, but the story is enough to chill you to the bone. In the early 1980s, a diver was exploring some of the previously mentioned caves when he disappeared without a trace. For days, no one could find him, but mysteriously a few hikers in the area found him alive and lying naked in the woods. The reports state that the whole time he was mumbling about some kind of monsters he met in the underwater caverns. According to the story, the diver had found a spot that was a dry oxygen-pocketed area the subterranean creatures were living in. As the story goes, the diver went insane and was put into a mental ward due to his encounter. Many write this off as an urban legend, but what if the story is true? What kind of creatures do you think this diver encountered that scared him so much? Did he possibly come across the species of beings known as reptilians the Native Americans have spoke about for years? With that, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.